Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sandisk ShoutCraft Invitational Grand Finals here on day 3, where everything is on the line, everything is to play for, and one extremely skilled player will walk away with $10,000. My name is TotalBiscuit, joined by co-casting team of Nathanius and Rotterdam. Welcome to the show.
I've made it, boys. I've made it.
You woke up. It's brilliant.
6 alarms wasn't enough, but 8 definitely did the job.
Hashtag Roddy in the stream.
I can just feel the passion through the TeamSpeak server right now.
Yeah, we've got a long day of Starcraft ahead of us. Actually, multiple tournaments, but this is going to be super cool, man. Like yesterday, I did catch, I think, maybe the best series of the tournament so far. That TVT was awesome, and I can't wait to see how my old boy Bomber is going to put up against, or how he's going to do against ByuN. If the games are half as good as yesterday, I think we're all pretty damn happy, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd absolutely say so. And Bomber's no slouch when it comes to TVT, so I think it should be an interesting series one way or the other. We'll have a look at the bracket right now and show you how everybody got there. As you can see, Solar and TY in the grand finals after Solar defeated Bomber in convincing fashion 4-1, and then the closest series yet, TY and ByuN 4-3. That could not have been more evenly matched.
Yeah, I mean, everything yesterday was just absolutely so sick. Like, I'm just thinking about that ByuN versus TY series, like going all the way to the 7th game. Like, this was, I don't know. If you missed it, just watch it. I couldn't give you a good reason in words to be like, oh yeah, this happened. It's like, no, you need to watch it and experience it for yourself, because like you really see the void. There's no analogies yet, you know? The game's too new. I don't know how to describe it to you.
Yeah.
You know what also was so cool about that series? Because sometimes you see a 4-3 series, and even if the games were close, it always kind of felt that one player was kind of in the driving seat, right? That he was kind of bound to win that series, but that series, I think it was so hard to call. There were so many momentum shifts. On a certain point, it looked all ByuN, then it looked all TY, and then it's like, oh my god, ByuN is actually bringing it back. It was just awesome. It had everything that a good series of StarCraft needs to have.
It absolutely did. Now, just to remind you, of course, the community bonus pool, sponsored by Sandisk Extreme Pro SSD, has been available for the last 24 hours for day 2, and we now have the results of that. And they are up on the screen right now, with ByuN winning the lion's share, $450 bonus prize money for his effort yesterday. TY follows up with $260, Bomber receives $160, and Solar $130. So congratulations to the players for the extra money based on your votes, and there will be one final bonus pool at the end of day 3. So make sure to visit the Team Liquid live report thread for day 3 after these matches are over and vote for who you believe deserves that little bit extra cash.
Can I vote for us as well, John?
No, they're not allowed to do that.
Damn it. Come on, 4 AM passion not enough for a cheeky bonus?
Oh, please. That caster life. We get guaranteed money, remember, so it doesn't count for us. We don't have anything on the line. We've got no stakes.
Yeah, that's another one of the reasons why I left being pro gaming, you know. I had to battle so hard, and I was like, wait a minute, there's guaranteed
there's something much easier.
I wouldn't mind stakes. Can we do that too? Yeah, sure.
We're casters. We can't afford stakes. Come on. Let's be realistic here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're ready to rock and roll. We're already in the game. We're on Central Protocol, which we barely ever get to see, but we're getting to see it in this series right here. So let's go to the southeast position in the red trunks, playing Terran. Here in the bronze match, it is Spenu's Bomber versus his opponent to the northwest position, who battled so hard yesterday and is looking to clinch 3rd place today in the baby blue. It is ByuN.
Yeah, this is definitely the map that we've seen the least, I think.
Yeah.
I actually don't veto it on ladder. I think it's pretty cool. It creates some pretty awesome games. I really love the tile set, by the way. It's a very unique one, something we haven't seen a whole lot. But I, of course, do understand, you know, the pros and cons, especially looking at the 3rd base. In the TVT, maybe it's not as crucial as some of the other matchups, but securing your 3rd base on this map is very hard.
Yeah, it's so far out of the way.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I like this map, though. I agree. This is a pretty fun one to play on ladder. This is another one of those ones that is really fun for Zerg. You just mass Reapers because you have this giant ramp, giant cliffs. But I really liked seeing the TVT from yesterday. I'm kind of hoping that ByuN keeps up the pace with what he did yesterday. Because I'll tell you what, I stole his builds I digested those replays like they were a delicious filet mignon, and I have to say I absolutely crushed face. Like these openings that he has are so good. They handle just about everything.
More like filet mignon.
God damn it!
Too early. Way too early for
There's
those.
no such thing as being
I just
too
woke
early
up,
for that.
John. You can't do that to me.
Your brain is shattered right now. Speaking of brain shattered, ByuN starting off with the double gas opening here right into the factory. But, of course, we also saw the factory for Bomber as well, who is now building his second gas. What's the difference between these two builds? Where do you think they're going?
Yeah, so the thing is, he just got this second gas so much earlier that it's what allows him to get the factory at the same time as Bomber, but he's building gas units, right? So the Reaper is not cheap. But Bomber doesn't have any Reapers, so Reaper Hellion can actually bop someone who opens up with just straight Marine like this. It's just a very sharp way to put in a lot of pressure. And the other thing is, this also helps against cleaning up SCV scouts, etc., which we already saw him do.
Yep.
So you're really just... You're trading that slightly less mineral income to get that faster gas, which really just allows you to get 2 Reapers, which I feel is totally worth it, because with that grenade ability, it's so much easier to harass than ever before with Reapers.
With
I mean,
ByuN's
ByuN's gonna have
control.
to be very careful though. That first Reaper is gonna hop in almost into 3 Marines. The grenade is good, but there is a Cyclone on the follow-up for Bomber, and I'm pretty damn excited to see that, because the Cyclones yesterday, they were good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like, TY did that, and it actually works pretty damn well.
Yeah, it seems like just having at least one Cyclone in your army is a perfect anti-harassment tool. Like, the Cyclone, I think, more so than any unit we've seen up to this point, in any of the expansions, is one of the best anti-harassment units that exist. But look at what ByuN is doing. Just driving the Cyclone forward just a little bit, trying to kill it, but Cyclone's just too tough, man, and Bomber's just going across the map now.
Yeah, that movement speed is truly unreal. The moment it locks up, pretty much nothing is gonna get out of range of a Cyclone. Even the fastest units you can imagine, you know, units like Mutalisk, like Phoenixes, the moment it locks up, it's most of the time it's just going to get the kill immediately. The range is very good, and I kind of like this for Bomber right now. He's even bringing his Marines, and if you look at what ByuN has, imagine if Bomber would have 1 or 2 SCVs repairing this Cyclone. This
That'd
could
be
very
awesome.
well be the end, actually.
There's even a second Cyclone built. Bomber's actually moving across the map, and he's going to fight with
Banshee.
this. Oh yeah, that Banshee is a threat to that Cyclone. Bomber's going to micro it away. If he could somehow lock on and keep out of the Banshee range, I don't even know if that's possible.
I think it is, and Cloak is not ready yet. This is going to get quite rough. Okay, well, the Banshee
Lovely
will kill the
turnaround.
first one, but the second one is here.
There's the cleanup. ByuN is able
some
to pick
tight
that up. All the
Cyclone
Marines
control.
are gone, though. Oh, no. Bomber.
Wrecked.
Nice move there by ByuN. I mean, that's a typical kind of Bomber-esque moment, isn't it? It's like, it's all going so well, and then, no.
It's important to keep in mind that as cool as Cyclone Harass looks, they're still like one of the most expensive units you can really build.
They really
as
are,
Terran.
yeah.
Bomber is actually behind on resources lost after this opening, as funny as that sounds.
Yeah, and that's after killing a Banshee and Reapers and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, they are pretty damn pricey.
Yeah, it's mostly that second Cyclone that just ran straight into the Widowmine. That's pretty
Yeah.
unfortunate, because it was still full on HP as well. Imagine the work that one Cyclone could have done if that mine wouldn't have been there. You're gonna get a guaranteed 2-3 extra kills. And actually there is a Mr. Turret in that true, never mind. I knew he built one in the main. Oh, ByuN is not paying attention!
Oh, and ByuN is going to lose that Banshee as a result. Okay, comedy of errors between these two at the moment.
And the third CC already has a follow-up as well for Bomber, so he's gonna go very economic. You know what I think is super cool? Like, obviously they're still playing for a lot of money. I believe $1,200 is the difference
That's
between
the difference,
fourth and
yeah.
third. But at the same time, like, you're not in the running for the grand final anymore, right? So there is a good chance that A, they feel less pressure, despite the fact there is a lot of money, and B, maybe a little more freedom to do a couple of those things that they may have tried once or twice but are not completely convinced about. So there's a really good chance we're gonna see some very wonky but maybe very awesome openings.
Yeah, I mean, what better way
I'm all
to
for it.
practice them than against an opponent like that, and knowing that you're in a best-of-7 series. I mean, I can't imagine that ByuN gets to play best-of-7s against Bomber all that often, so it's a great little testing ground.
Yep, I agree. I just think it's cool because, especially for those people tuning in, you're finally getting some solid TVT games to watch just to try to study this early mid-game phase, because it can be so scary. I'm really interested to see how much value Bomber gets out of that fast third command center, because especially on this map, taking that third base, like, you immediately become super exposed just the way the map is laid out.
Yeah, don't you think he's gonna keep it at home for a while, Nate? Like, I think if I'm a Terran and I know that I'm on 3 command centers way before my opponent, I see no purpose in flying it over just now. I would say squeeze out some extra SCVs, drop those mules, get the extra scans. From that point on, just be safe and make sure that you won't fly it over until your production facilities are truly up and running.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna agree. It just feels weird because in all the games that I've played in the last week, where I get a fast third command center, if I don't move it out super quickly, like ByuN's just building his at the third. If I don't do that, you actually mine your base out. Like you mine your main or what natural out within an extra. Like it really just cuts the lifetime of your base like by like 10%. It feels like it just like immediately mines out.
That's a very unique thing to Legacy of the Void, and particularly to Terran, and Terran are concerned about that as a result.
First world Terran problems. I mine too much money too fast.
Yeah, man. I don't want to mine money that quickly, okay? It gives me the illusion that my base has never had resources to begin with.
I mean, ByuN is gonna march across the map now, guys. All jokes aside, and he has 5 tanks already. That's something that Bomber is gonna have to be worried about a little bit. He does have 3 on his own, and the 4th one is almost done. But if he gets caught out of position, and if you look at Bomber's map vision right now, there isn't really a whole lot of that.
No.
This could get rather tricky.
Yeah, his third base is definitely under threat right now. There's a large marching force. Combat Shield is not done yet for either player. Stim is available for Bomber, who loses 3 Marines handily, but it's going to come down to tank positioning here for Bomber. Can he find a good position to ward ByuN off for long enough to get his Combat Shield going and actually get his Defender's advantage fully into play?
There's also a 10 Marine advantage, and since Stim is ready, Combat Shield is not ready yet for either player. Upgrades are pretty much dead even, but 10 Marines, that could be enough to create a serious problem. Maybe just Stim into the natural right now. That's exactly what he's going to do. I love it.
Yeah, he's just avoiding Bomber's army completely, and he's able to set up on the ramp, and Bomber's looking to base straight here by the looks of it. Bomber's just going to evacuate this natural, lose most of his SCVs in the process, and now he's turning... Oh, no. Bomber's now turning around. I think he realizes, no, this is not going to work at all. But, like, to me, that he just lost the game doing that. Like, it's better to have a bad plan than no plan, right?
That was such a phenomenal move by ByuN there. And now he tries to come over here and defend this. Like, yeah, he'll be able to sandwich this army, and this is a really nice cleanup, but... You know, he's giving ByuN even more time now to just fortify his defense.
Look at the army supply difference.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. I was about to say the same. I know it looked a little clumsy and silly, but Bomber still has that base in the army supply right now. I see no way for ByuN to keep his third base alive.
Yeah, there's a huge army supply difference, and Bomber actually finds the drop in the middle of the map and shuts down one of the medevacs as well. It's currently 93 army supply to 58 in favor of Bomber. All of the tanks of ByuN were crushed in that engagement, so there's only 2 back at base that have just been built. Bomber has a great shot at this.
Yeah, he fights another medevac as well, so basically he killed 2 more medevacs full of Marines. Like, this base of ByuN is super dead. Like, there's absolutely no saving it. Maybe he can get a couple of SCVs out, but
the pendulum swings back.
I need to stop doubting Bomber. Bomber's basically the drunken master of Starcraft 2. You know, it looks like he's falling over flat on his ass, and then he just kicks 6 bad guys in the face. This is looking really good for Bomber right now.
Yep, this has way more of everything. 5 more tanks, SCVs being fueled, but this shouldn't be possible.
No, there's too many tanks. Bomber showing the veterancy right here. ByuN getting blown to hell.
Wow.
GG. What a great, weird start of this series, man.
It's so crazy to think that he just makes that decision at the last second. He's like, actually, yes, I can crush this army. Maybe it was an overstimming. I think Bomber's combat shield might have been slightly faster too in that position.
Bomber's it was about actually 50 seconds quicker, strangely enough.
Yeah, that's actually pretty big when you consider that ByuN's army had already stimmed a few times and didn't have a ton of medevacs on top of it. That's just really smart by Bomber. I don't think, I mean, I wouldn't have seen that opportunity.
No.
And you know what I also think is very cool, and in a weird way kind of worked against ByuN here. He already has those tanks like pretty much attached to the medevac, right? That makes evacuating, I think, a tiny bit harder because there's no space for those Marines to get out. And you could see him taking the fight first. Then he unloaded the tanks, and then he wanted to pick up them again, or he wanted to get out with something. But you know, the moment you only have 2 medevacs there, his army was way bigger than those 2 medevacs ever could have carried. So I think Bomber just realized, he's like, well, you know, if you're setting yourself up over there, all those units are going to die, and I think I can take a landslide victory here. And he even pulled a couple of SCVs to make sure that the few seconds that the main army that was out on the map wasn't there yet, those SCVs could buffer for the forces on the south, and then he was hitting from the north, and I think it was a great cleanup.
Yeah, I'm just really interested to see the openings again, because I felt like the build orders were pretty sharp from both sides. I didn't think the third command center that early for Bomber would really pay off, but well, he is Bomber, and doubting him into him winning is pretty much like his normal. That's like his breakfast.
That is true. We're guilty of this all the time because Bomber's a bit of a legend, but I don't think anyone considers him like top of the world anymore, and I think that's fair, but to doubt him in this sort of situation is perhaps a mistake. You know, he has a lot of experience behind him, and yeah, he makes questionable decisions from time to time. I don't think anyone's going to doubt that, but when he plays well, he plays really, really well. You know, he is so smart in these kind of situations.
I totally agree. Bomber, in a way, a little bit similar to Polt, you know, both super old school, super solid in general, and every single time we think they cannot compete with the big boys anymore, they always prove us wrong. So I kind of just stopped, you know, trying to reason from that point of view, and just take them for who they are and let them surprise me over and over again in the good way of things. But you know, Bomber, even though people like often like, yeah, he used to be really great, let's not forget that in the second half of 2014, I genuinely believe that Bomber was one of the best Terran players on Earth again, because he was on an absolute tear, and that's only a year ago. So this guy, despite the fact that he's a little older, he's still got it, man.
True enough, and that's great to see. Absolutely, Bomber a fan favorite. So if he's able to deliver against someone as good as ByuN and can continue to do that, then that is going to be a very cool thing to watch indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leralac Crest, the map that we all seem to hate, although in TVT perhaps it's not quite as bad. To the southwest position in the Red Trunks playing Terran, currently up 1 game in this best of 7 bronze match series, we have Spenu's Bomber versus his opponent to the northwest position in the Blue Trunks playing for X Team. It is ByuN.
Now imagine if you haven't played StarCraft for a very long time and you never really followed the pro scene. You just introduced this match as the Bronze Match series, so they probably think that we're watching 2 Bronze Leaguers right now, John.
What can I say? Skill has just advanced so very far since then. You know, ByuN, he's top 8 bronze, but bronze nonetheless.
I mean, if this guy's top 8 bronze, like I don't know if our brains would be able to survive watching a Grandmaster level play.
Yeah, I think
just Automaton against each other. Automaton 2000 over and over again.
just two guys just like literally endlessly splitting Marines and tanks against each other, just non-stop.
Oh man.
I also agree, by the way, with your point. This map, and especially because it's a mirror match, like it's not really as big of a deal.
As bad, yeah.
I think the biggest thing to note is that lower ground area by the 3rd can be used to siege production in the main. So Doom drops are still good, but I guess both of these guys seem to like taking those big fights.
I mean, this is the map where we saw ByuN go for one of his very aggressive openings, right? Where it was just basically double Reaper into Hellions into a Banshee follow-up. A little bit similar to the previous map, but he should be a lot more successful if Bomber would go for a similar build that TY went for on this map. However, that's not the case. Bomber is going to sacrifice his SSV, but gets a great scout off. Like, I think ByuN's opening is awesome against any sort of very quick fast expand, but any sort of Cyclone will probably shut this down pretty hard.
Yeah, that's exactly what Bomber's doing. He's going straight for the Tech Lab. I think the Cyclone opening last time was successful. You know, the only reason it went wrong was that he lost the second one for free by running it into a Widow Mine. If that didn't happen, I think Bomber would have been in a much stronger position and would have had that early game control.
Yeah, and despite the fact that he did lose that second Cyclone, let's not forget that the first Cyclone killed the first Banshee, which I think is very, very massive in TVT, and also allowed him to get plenty of time to get those missile turrets all up at home. So they didn't just take out one Banshee; they took out the first Banshee, which most of the time does most damage.
Yes.
And that one, then the turrets are up, and then it becomes a lot harder for Banshees to be relevant.
Very true, and a bit of bad luck there for ByuN, hopping up in one of the areas where the Marines were, so he rolls the dice and doesn't quite get what he needs, and Bomber now out with the Cyclone and moving, and ByuN immediately realizing the threat backs off.
It's just smart play. Like, Bomber picks an opening that allows him to just say, no, you're not going to harass me at all, and if you decide to take that fight, you're going to throw away your expensive Reapers, your expensive Hellions, and Really, it just comes down to how is he going to deal with the Cyclone coming back to counter harass him as well.
What I do like immediately from ByuN is that he's not stubborn. He's not like sticking around against a unit that will outrange him and will out DPS him.
You're trying to use the grenade here to knock
Wow.
the Cyclone forward, but it didn't
I didn't
quite
realize
happen.
that the Cyclone doesn't lose its lock-on when it's knocked in the air by a grenade.
Oh, nice pick off there by ByuN. Great timing with the Banshee, and I think he engaged just the right moment before the Cyclone really realized what was going on. But yeah, it doesn't actually break the lock. The cool thing about the grenade, of course, is that it knocks the Cyclone slightly closer, so the range advantage can disappear.
Cyclone is going to try to intercept the Banshee and we'll be able to get quite a few shots off. I
think that's
he's
gonna
kill
kill.
him.
Oh, one more shot would have done it. Great interception, though.
But still, though, yeah, that's a lot of damage on once again. That
Oh, he's gonna get it! He's gonna get it!
He's gonna get it! Wow!
Oh, it's just before Cloak finished as well. I'm really surprised that ByuN actually kept that around. I would have personally hidden it in the void or whatever and waited for Cloak to be done.
Yeah, I guess he just really didn't expect it.
Don't lose that next Cyclone. The Reaper for ByuN slips in and actually gets a couple of worker kills, which is quite nice. At the same time, that push over and another Cyclone looks like it will die.
Go down.
So
Yeah, the
expensive
Vikings
losses
up,
to
but
start this game.
oh man, ByuN's not gonna lose that Banshee though. So yeah, great pick off by the Reaper there. The Cyclone didn't really do the job. It's a third Cyclone. I mean, he's continuing with this strategy here. He thinks that Cyclone is the correct way to go.
I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but you're slowing down everything else that you want to do this game by building so many Cyclones at the start.
I think losing that last Cyclone and not killing the Banshee, I think that turns the game upside down. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder for ByuN to finish that CC. His economy will be hurting. But that scan going down and not getting that Banshee and losing the Cyclone, I think that puts an end to the aggression of Bomber, as we can see right now. That's why he's backing off. And now, of course, everything that Nate said is super, super relevant. And also, take a look at the main base. eBay is not even done yet. Yes, there are Vikings. Yes, he can scan, but you don't want to scan when your CC is already late.
Oh man, Bomber missing out on a bit of an opportunity there. He's going to shut the Banshee down anyway, but he was actually just within vision of it, and the Vikings were moving back at the same speed as the Banshee was, which is a little unfortunate there, but we've got a Cloak Banshee now moving into the natural here, and there's another scan going down. These three Vikings should shut this down without a problem. Down it goes. Yeah. So basically we have an end to both aggressive builds here. The Cyclones have been shut down, ByuN's Banshees have been shut down, but ByuN ends up with a 6-worker lead here after some pretty successful harass.
Hey Nate, like, so imagine that you just had an early game like this, your name is ByuN, then you probably have a pretty good idea that this is decent for you, right? Because your opponent made so many Cyclones. What do you think is the best way for him to capitalize on this from this point? Go for a strong 2-base aggression, you know, maybe a soft contain, or just drop that third command center as soon as possible?
I think this is a fine third command center position. Like, just looking at the production tab, like, as observers, we can see everything, and what really tells you how far ahead ByuN is that the army is very similar between the two of them. But ByuN has stim almost done, combat shield almost done, plus 1 attack on the way, and those are the upgrades that are going to give him longevity. Like, all he needs to do is just chill for a little bit. I don't think a third base is a bad idea, but just get stim and combat shield and get to work, because Bomber is way behind on his upgrades.
Can Bomber crack
does
this
have...
before stim's done, though?
Bomber does have air superiority, and that's going to make things a tiny bit complicated for ByuN, especially as long as he doesn't have stim. Bomber is actually going to back off. I'm a little bit surprised by that. He's got 5 Vikings.
I do feel, though, that if he were to overstay his welcome when combat shields is done, like, ByuN could just stim down that ramp, spread his guys out, and move in with his tanks, just because Bomber doesn't have stim or combat shield. His Marines kind of suck right now.
But Nate, that's when you land your Vikings.
There's no more Heart of the Swarm cinematic for this game to talk about Vikings being good, Roddy.
Damn it. Alright, I'll take it.
Not even any shared vehicle upgrades with air anymore.
I think the new... Yeah, I was going to say, I think the new meme about units and the units being bad from the cutscene is Zealots killing 10 Banelings or something.
Hey man, I try that every game. I don't know what you're talking about. What is this thing called
from ByuN. He's got a lot going for him, and a decent number of tanks, of course, the stim and +1 and combat shield upgraded Marines, and I mean, Bomber's not even close to any of those things. If he's caught out in the open like this without tank support, he could be in trouble.
The only good thing for Bomber is that he still has all those Vikings. Oh, he just barely misses that drop, by the way, on the left side. That's going to be unfortunate. But if he shuts down these medevacs, stimming is going to be very dangerous for ByuN. But it's very unfortunate, because this drop in the main base should do a lot of damage, because Bomber is way out of position.
Yeah, very true. The Vikings are now on the way. There is a tank moving in. Currently, 2 workers down, 3 workers down, a couple of Marines getting killed as well. If this tank gets killed, that'll be a great pick-off here for ByuN, and he gets it. No evacuation, but look at the number of workers that have been killed regardless. ByuN's killed 7 and a tank and a Marine, and he might even get a couple more by the end of this. This is a nice little drop
almost got
here.
the Cyclone.
Yeah, that would have been devastating.
This just comes down to not having stim, right? Because even though Bomber has a reasonable amount of siege tanks, that just means, okay, you're not going to take a direct fight against me without trading poorly. But that doesn't mean that he isn't, safe everywhere else, or he isn't able to do damage in other places, because that stim just gives him such a huge mobility factor once he gets past those defenses, either with a drop or, a run by or something else.
Oh, here comes the big tank drop coming in here, and Bomber does not have the units to push this back in that position. I'd like to see Bomber try and knock those medevacs down out of the air if he can, but he's now rapidly retreating. It's currently 7 tanks to 3 in favor of ByuN.
Yeah, I was gonna look for a third base, but it's not even there yet. He's actually gonna stim forward. He sees the Marines are a little bit out of position. He's just gonna go for it, trying to end it.
And he does. GG. Pretty much crushed there. ByuN had everything going in his favor outside of the early game harassment, and then that, as they said, was that. And that equalized the series 1 game apiece.
That was a really weird game to watch, mostly because I feel like Bomber just way overcommitted on Cyclones. Like from what I've learned in the games that I played and from the other ones that I've watched is that if you build more than 1 Cyclone, like 2 is super greedy because it just delays all your follow-ups, but more than that it's honestly just downright silly, because even if you lose it, like, it's better to just cut your losses because they just take so long to build, they're so expensive, and while he's making Cyclones, ByuN's making tanks, which are way better in those actual fights, because Cyclones, I mean, they can't hold a candle to a tank in a head-on battle.
Yeah, it's almost like...
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, John.
So it's almost like he built 1 more Cyclone than he should have. He kept building Cyclones just a little bit too long, and as a result, he fell behind like everything else. It's, as you said, Nathanius, the amount of gas that was put into that delayed everything. Stim, combat shield, +1, you name it.
I would have preferred to see him just open up with 1 Cyclone, nab that Banshee perhaps, and then back off, move straight into tanks, and then suddenly he's got 1 or 2 more than ByuN does, and ByuN trying to push in like that, he just gets crushed. But obviously not how things turned out.
Yeah, that was a very close call though, with that 1 Banshee in the natural and that Cyclone. I think if that 1 Cyclone survives that hit and the scan kills that Banshee, then ByuN can't actually finish up his command center immediately. Probably will eventually, but he has to pull 4 or 5 SCVs, and I think we're already looking at a different early game. But Nate, looking back at it, don't you think that Bomber should have kept those tanks around and like used those 5 Vikings that he have? Because it really felt like the amount of Vikings he produced, he did very, very little with it, and I kind of felt that was his one big advantage, despite being behind in everything else. Like, I really felt he should have tried to keep that contain up and use, the air vision that he would get from all those Vikings.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with the effectiveness of the Vikings. I can understand though why he would want to have them out somewhere that can catch those medevacs or possible like the drops, but just having those at home would have been so nice for keeping those mass tank drop pushes away. But I don't know. I'm just hoping that we see a little bit less of a greedy opening from Bomber, because I do think opening with several Cyclones is greedy. Like, you just delay everything else way too much. You won't be able to take a mid-game fight if you dump your first 1,000 gas into Cyclones.
True enough. We're going to take a quick break, folks. When we come back after the break, we will be bringing you map 3 of this best of 7 bronze match series. A lot of money on the line for 3rd place here. Will it be Bomber? Will it be ByuN? We'll find out after the break. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sandisk ShoutCraft Invitational II. We are currently 1 apiece between Bomber and ByuN, and this is the 3rd place match, aka the Bronze match. Don't mistake it for Bronze League. There's a lot of money on the line here. I'll tell you, if I could win this much money in Bronze League, I would never leave.
Hashtag the dream. Wouldn't that be amazing?
I've played my first Legacy of the Void automated tournament on release day. Spoiler, if you don't know, if you sign up for a tournament and you're not ranked in ladder, it puts you into a bronze one. So
really?
Yeah, I don't think I actually played against bronzes, but it's now a moment that I will hold forever dear to my heart, that I have a bronze 1v1 trophy for winning that tournament.
I intend to one of those. That's maybe the only tournament I could ever possibly win.
These tournaments are pretty fierce, by the way. Like, I signed up for 2 and I didn't win either of them. And, you know, running some pretty good players. And even when I see, like, the lower ranked tournaments, you know, often if you're in Gold League and you sign up, you get a Platinum tournament or sometimes even Diamond League.
Ew.
And those guys, they're all pretty decent, you know. It's definitely not easy. So I do think it's great motivation because I think winning one will actually, like, mean quite a bit, especially in your respective league. So I think it's a pretty great initiative. I love watching them.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing it on a daily basis, you know? It seems like a nice thing you could just maybe spend an hour and a half of your time doing, you know, 3 best of 1s, and see if you can improve.
And it's so satisfying if you win. It's a trophy, man. Trophy.
And you get ladder points for winning those games too.
Yeah, I got promoted from one of my games, winning in the tournament, so hashtag that one promotion.
Absolutely, but this tournament is bigger, badder, noisier, richer, handsomer. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Spenu's Bomber. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the south of Dusk Towers versus his opponent to the north position in the blue trunks, also playing Terran, currently tied 1 apiece in this best of 7 series. It is X Team's ByuN.
Good old Dusk Towers already provided us with some amazing TVT yesterday, twice.
True, it has.
I like this map a lot.
Yep.
I want to see Bomber use Liberators, because I feel if we're going to see one person use Liberators successfully in TVT, it's Bomber, because he's all about the pre-engagements in general, right? Yeah, of course he has great micro, but most of the time he sets himself up in positions where all he has to do is just move his units around a little bit, and it's an absolute massacre. So I kind of feel the Liberator is a unit that caters right towards someone like Bomber.
I thought you were going to mention how Bomber's won several tournaments in America in the last few years. You know,
that's true. He knows all about freedom.
America title. He's got the Red Bull title. If one person's gonna bring freedom in this series, I would expect it to be Bomber.
Sorry, I have no idea how I missed it, Nate.
Well, at the moment, the only freedom Bomber is interested in is economic freedom. He's going for his command center first before the gas here.
Capitalism, baby.
Indeed. But ByuN, far less aggressive opening this time around. He just goes for gas into what looks to be 1 Reaper and then his expand.
Man, I think it's because of the map, right? This is one of the maps with a pocket expand, and if you're not taking that expand, you're putting yourself in a position immediately where it's like, alright, I gotta do either economic damage or I somehow, some way, I'm gonna have to catch up, otherwise you're just behind. So even if this is not really your playstyle, on some of the maps, you just gotta accept that these are the best openings, and I think that's what we're seeing over here.
Yep. Seems reasonable.
I had to say, I do think this is just also a form of progression for ByuN, because he actually did the very similar switch up against TY yesterday. You know, he started off with the aggressive openings, he just slowly turned it down a little bit over the course of the series, because Bomber has, much actually like TY now that I think about it, gotten a really good place with the Cyclone openings in the mid game, which are basically like, no, back off, you're not going to be dealing any damage to me with this Reaper Marine harassment. If you're a Terran player on the ladder that struggles with that early game harassment, you know what? Just do it. Open with a fast Cyclone, because those things wreck harassment tools.
That they very much seem to do, and at the moment we're seeing ByuN going up to the starport here. Double Marine and Widowmine production, so a bit of a classic opening build here from ByuN.
Yep, he's most likely going to sacrifice his Reaper over here, but it's one of those sacrificial things for the greater good. He might get an SCV now. Well, Bomber! No, so close, but no. Not today.
Bomber almost lets us think that he's going to let it die. It's like, nah.
Took a lot of damage, yeah. He got so close. One more grenade, guys, for that multi-kill. Killing spree.
Bomber with a really
monster kill.
How sick
Bomber with
would
a
it
really
be?
early engineering bay here. You think he suspects Cloak Banshee?
Yeah, that's not a bad. I mean, he has played against Cloak Banshees twice already, right? So there is a good chance that he's going to face it one more time. Imagine if Starcraft unit would have those kill counts, and you know you have like a Banshee going on 10 kills, and it's like multi-kill, like announcer comes out of nowhere. I want you to be my announcer, John. If that ever happens, you gotta you gotta give me that voice pack.
A few people have asked me for
the
that.
voice packs.
It's more likely my Dota one will be out before that, but we'll see what happens. You know, I would pay good money for a Killer Instinct StarCraft crossover pack. That would be amazing. Just nuke someone, you get Ultra Combo! That would be amazing. I would be so hype. And use
I would
nukes
love it.
every game just for the chance of that.
And I just want, whenever I win a game, I want to hear Tasteless's voice screaming, blood-curdling
Widow
GG.
mine, Widow mine.
Whoa! And ByuN
Oh, wow.
sees what's coming
Still
in,
on
but
the
that's
shoot,
a
actually.
big hit anyway.
Marines of Bomber are a tiny bit out of position, but I guess overall that could have gone a lot worse for Bomber. He ended up losing 4. He's going to build an SCV, or excuse me, a missile turret next to. So that could have been worse. But it also could have been a lot worse for ByuN, because first that missile, or excuse me, the medevac was flying straight into the mine, but he saw the line. It's actually kind of cool, right, how they did that in Legacy. Right now it shows you where the widow mine is going to shoot.
Bomber, the mine, you build the turret next... Oh, okay. Never mind.
I think he was just trying to be nice to his buddy ByuN.
Maybe he was worried about the possibility of like a flanking drop into his natural or something like that, and he was more concerned about that than losing another SCV, but now it's finally down. The thing is, we have a big aggressive drop coming out of ByuN here. He's going with, interestingly enough...
2 tanks!
Yeah, but they're not deployed. So he's going with 2 tanks and like 4 Marines in each one of these. This is unusual.
It's part of the swarm style.
I mean, the units from Bomber right now are a tiny bit out of position. He, of course, ByuN should know about that missile turret. He saw it being built, so he's going to try to avoid it. This could be very hard to deal with for Bomber, though. He doesn't have stim yet.
No, he really does not, and ByuN is now trying to get into a good deployed position. The tank focusing fire for Bomber, that's nice, and oh man, ByuN is getting a lot done with this. That's 11 workers killed.
That was phenomenal. He saves both siege tanks. You trade out a few Marines for 11 SCVs this early in the game. That was brilliant decision making there by ByuN. That's a phenomenal trade.
And what a cool idea, you know, going in with the tanks unsieged to make sure he can actually bring the Marines in, rather than doing what every other Terran, including these guys, have been doing up to this point, which is saying, oh, well, the only time I'm ever going to move siege tanks is when they're deployed.
No, it was a great play, but let's not forget that Bomber did have his third command center a tiny bit quicker. He's still down 8-9 workers, but he has been building 3 SCVs at a time. He has triple mule, so I think it hurts, but imagine if he would have lost a tech lab or something that's researching stim. Like, I think that would have been catastrophic, and I think this is something that Bomber can still work with, because he now has like 10-11 army supply lead.
Yeah.
So I think it's alright.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually got like a full over a minute before his opponent even has stim. So Bomber's actually going for a doom drop, and I think maybe this is the right call if he can get the right position on it.
Yeah, there are missile turrets going up on the outskirts of ByuN's base, and look where the units are positioned as well. He's definitely worried about it, and he's having 2 of those Christopher Columbus Marines in the middle of the map.
Yeah, he's going to avoid all of them, so ByuN is, yeah, he's thinking that might be the case, but I think his third base is under a lot of threat right now.
Yep, especially if all the units stay where they currently are. I love this idea from Bomber going via the south. It's not that obvious. He's actually going to fly into the back of the natural, maybe. There is 1 missile turret, but I guess you can fly over it. It's going to be a bumpy
probably get in there. Oh, yeah, but ByuN has already responded to this, and this may end up being a disaster here for Bomber. He's caught in the corner when ByuN already has his tanks deployed. There's a stim forward from Bomber, trying to focus down the tanks. Gets 1, gets 2. The third one is quickly evacuated there by ByuN, and that drop accomplishes very little.
It would have been so sick if he would have just gone via the third base where the
I'd
missile
just
turret
hit the
wasn't
third
ready
personally,
yet.
yeah. I'm surprised he did that. ByuN saw him coming in with that building missile turret and was able to quickly boost his tanks forward into a defensive position. If he'd just gone for the third, that would have been much more devastating. But let's not count Bomber out yet. He still has an army supply lead. Yeah,
he has a really big force that's still continuing to press across the map. His +1 armor is about to finish up, so we'll have a super even army setup-wise. But there you go, the double sensor tower is going to be really hard for him to get any more of those aggressive positions without being spotted well in advance now.
Hey, you know what's really interesting, by the way, that Bomber is cutting SCVs. Well, actually, now he's building them again, but for a while, he was just not building SCVs. He stopped at 48. He squeezed out 1, but he was just not building them, and I kind of felt it was on purpose, because I highly doubt he would forget it for, you know, multiple minutes in a row. But now, yes, he still has a minor army supply lead, but that's not going to stay, so Bomber is going to have to find a way to somehow capitalize on it, but like you guys said, with these missile or sensor towers up, it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, and the combination of the moving defensive siege tanks plus that, oh, here we go. The battle engages, and Bomber is not getting the best of positions here, but it looks like he might have the slight marine advantage anyway, and he is able to crack this, not without significant losses. Will he be able to do any worker damage?
You know, that combat shield is so nice in this position too, because he comes into this fight. His army has like an extra 200 hit points just from all those Marines.
Ended up being an absolutely huge deal.
The orbital.
Oh, that would be lovely. He's going up the ramp, maybe not the best.
He's going for the game.
He's got the tank on the high ground right here. Bomber continues to destroy the economy of ByuN, taking huge losses here. Bomber's got a second tank a little bit further down the ramp as well. All these SCVs are going to get massacred. In the meantime, though, there was actually a counter drop that's also killing all the SCVs of Bomber.
Whoa.
That counter drop is super massive. Obviously, Bomber is not looking into the back of his natural. So now when it's all said and done,
it's actually
ByuN has more workers still.
Yeah.
Well, I think ByuN is ahead because he has an armory. He has 2-2 on the way.
Yeah.
I really think Bomber should have just killed that orbital and be happy with that. If you kill the orbital in this phase in the game, like, that is almost game over. I don't think you have to stim up a ramp.
I completely agree. You know, that was so bold the way he tried to push into the main. Honestly, to me, it seems like Bomber realized that he was starting to get a good trade, and as good as it was, I don't think it was good enough to try to end the game. And he just probably got a little overzealous there. He probably thought he could win. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, the difference that you pointed out earlier, the combat shield
attacks, right?
versus no combat shield, it probably had a lot to do with that, and I think he probably realized that was going on and went for it, but you're right, you know, he should have probably just settled for the third base and just pulled back at that point. He had a timing window that he could have exploited and then got out with an army supply lead and an economic lead, and he actually ends up with neither now.
And he still has no armory, so that really, and single engineering base.
It's gonna
So that
sting.
really gives me the idea that he's gonna try to do the same thing all over
Shove again. Yeah, and I mean, he's got his army supply up once again. I mean, Bomber's macro is, of course, absolutely amazing. He's producing a huge amount of units, but he now has an upgrade disadvantage, and the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get. I mean, it is maybe a case, Nathanius, that he has to win now?
I mean, with an army with an upgrade disparity like this, I do really think he has to. Like, he is not going to trade cost effectively whatsoever with his bio in this position. So he really needs to just abuse him, try to get into a good position. And if he was able to get in here before all these tanks land and he gets the first volley off, then you know what? Maybe there's a chance. It's still going to be, you know, a miracle for him to pull off.
It's going to be very hard to do, especially fighting into a sensor tower. You know, it's not like ByuN doesn't know exactly where these units are. I think Bomber's actually trying to fake him out here by moving a lot of medevacs with only a couple of tanks in there. The sensor tower is not dead. It's burning, but it's not dead yet. Is Bomber going home here? I mean, if he does, then this is going to be a very hard fight coming in.
There's no going home from
He's
this.
got to go, yeah, surely. Bomber thinks maybe not, actually. Unless he's just rounding up with more forces and going for it. He has a huge army supply lead now.
With +2 armor done and +3 attack gonna finish soon for ByuN, like, there is absolutely no way Bomber's gonna win a straight up fight. He is relying 100% on those siege tanks being positioned somewhere that compromises ByuN's position, because these Marines, if we watch a head-to-head fight, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Pull the boys. Nate, what do you say? Pull all the SCVs one time?
Maybe it'll look cool, but I don't think it'll help.
And here we go, Bomber in a decent position. A lot of ByuN's tanks were unsieged. The question is, can Bomber actually get on top of them? He's trying to. ByuN trying to smash the right flank. The left flank gone as well. Both armies getting destroyed, but that upgrade lead is just too much.
Yeah, 2-2
really
against
significant.
1-1. And +1 on the tanks as well. That's just too much, I
It
guess.
can't really be overstated how important upgrades are, and especially mirror for TVT.
Yeah, it really matters.
When the Marines shoot so fast, there's so many of them, each upgrade advantage, it's not like it's a couple extra damage. It's dozens of extra damage per attack volley that's being missed out on or blocked from Bomber's side.
Yeah, now Bomber has equal army supply, but lower upgrades and a weaker economy. I mean, +3 on the Marines is about to finish here. This is looking nigh on impossible for Bomber at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how he's supposed to do this against 3 Marines with 1-1.
It's like one of these moments where you know you're pretty much dead, but at the same time you don't want to leave either, because maybe your opponent does something very silly.
Stupid.
But
Yeah.
That's what I think this contain is about. So there's that scan, and ByuN trying to break this could be the one way that he's able to throw this game away.
I don't know about that, though. I think the upgrade advantage is too much, man. +3 is too good, and that is going to be one dead army. That's going to be one dead Bomber by the looks of it.
Yeah, that's game then. There's no way he's going to be able to recover from this. Like, I can understand trying to go for a contain. You just hope that your opponent attacks in the wrong position. You get a couple free shots off and then somehow make that work. But Not here, not today.
I mean, Bomber has a 4th base. If ByuN decides to go AFK for the next 5 minutes, then it is possible Bomber can catch up again, but I don't think that's going to happen here. ByuN is going for the killing blow.
No armory, no party.
Indeed, no. All those tanks gone, and there's the GG, and well played. Bomber, unfortunately, not able to capitalize on those windows of opportunity, and like you said, maybe just getting a little bit too impetuous, trying to bite off a little bit more than he can chew. Maybe he should have just settled for the 3rd and backed off and then thought about his armory rather than saying, let's win now.
I must give a huge shout out to that drop though by ByuN. Like, it's very sick to pay attention to a drop like that when you know that your opponent is just shoving all of his units into your main base, but somehow he found the time to look at that drop in the back of Bomber's natural and killing those 18, 19, 20 SCVs. That is what kept him in the game.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I think it's it really just comes down a lot to a Bomber. It really seemed like he thought he had an opportunity to put the game away. You know, he saw red, and he chased it. He chased that red flag, and it led straight off a cliff.
Yep, a lot of greed in that attack, a lot of greed. You can definitely see the logic behind it, but unfortunately it just wasn't quite enough. I mean, a player of the caliber of ByuN, I have to wonder if you could ever pull that kind of thing off.
Yeah, it's gonna be very tricky, but I think it was a good try overall. It was a very close game, and it really looked like Bomber was gonna be able to turn that game around, because it was already going to be a hard attack, but he somehow, some way made it work because of Combat Shield. I knew that Nate was going to mention it. I was looking at the tab as well. I was like, alright, you know, Combat Shield Marine's very good, but ByuN just doing an excellent job in the multitasking department.
Well, we're going to game 4 right here. ByuN currently leading 2 games to 1. There's quite a lot of money on the line even for this 3rd place match. So these guys are playing serious, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and it's a very evenly matched series so far as well. Not maybe as explosive as the TVT yesterday, but
no,
we can see this as being pretty damn close. And like, Bomber is also has always been a player that learns from every single game he plays within the series. And I think like series like best of 7s, best of 5s, those favor Bomber over a best of 1 or over a best of 3. So he's always been a very smart guy, right? Like, we know his mechanics are good, but it may not be like the absolute best in the world, but he's just a very smart guy, and the way that he approaches the game often makes up for what he maybe lacks in other departments.
That is true enough. We have game 4 on the way here for you. ByuN currently leading 2 games to 1, and there's a big difference, $1,200 of difference in prize money between 3rd and 4th place. So these guys are fighting hard for that, understandably so. Welcome to Pryon Terraces. It's my pleasure to bring you Spenu's Bomber to the northwest position in the red trunks, playing Terran versus his opponent, currently up 2 maps to 1 in the best of 7. From X Team in the southeast position, also playing Terran in the blue trunks, it is ByuN.
Something cheeky is going on. Bomber is sending SCVs across the map.
What are you doing, Bomber?
So I don't think that this is really ever going to be a big thing in Legacy of the Void. I don't know if I mind being proven wrong, because I really hate getting cheesed, but I mean, if someone makes it work, then I guess that's all the more impressive. Reapers could be the answer if you want to steal a quick one, though, on this map.
Like, I really don't mind.
Oh!
What? ByuN Spider Sense going for a second barracks as well?
Well, I mean, it's a great Reaper map, right?
Yeah. Well, I think if I think ByuN doing this, like, all you need to do is shut down the first Reaper, run across the map, and collect your ladder points, or in this case, you know, that 3rd map win.
But imagine if he rallies his first Reaper across the map, Nate. Aren't things gonna get very complicated then?
At least he has the rally to defend himself. If he can get
does he see it?
The supply depot.
Do you see it? Do you see it?
Is that too close?
He doesn't know!
Don't! Oh my god, you don't see it.
His SCV needs to move. RNG. The only RNG in StarCraft is SCV movement. Come on, just go to the top left. You can do it, baby.
Has to go to the top left. Would it even see it from there?
I don't know. It's the only chance.
Well, hopefully Bomber waits for both his Reapers
No, he
to be
doesn't
ready.
see it!
Oh my god.
He's so close, so close.
Unbelievable. Oh, now he sees
Now
it!
he does! The depot! The depot has vision to see it.
The Reaper's coming in. But it's going to be Reaper versus Reaper here, and the first shot goes to ByuN. I think he's trying to bait him into the second Reaper, but I mean, the second Reaper's going to be done here for ByuN here as well, so...
I mean, if you're ByuN, you know, at some point it's gonna run through your head that, oh, you really need to get a Reaper across the map. Like, if you can just pick off 1 or 2, or even just 1, just get some momentum and attack across the map, you're gonna win, because SCVs, like, workers are just god-awful versus Reapers since the grenade got added.
But Nate, why would you ever send a unit across the map when it's 2 Rex against 2 Rex right now?
Well,
Wouldn't
I mean,
you just stay at home?
No, I just mean if he's able to pick off a unit or 2, then his reinforcements at home can defend, because there's no way he has any production at home. It should be ByuN's immediate thought.
Yeah, but at first, the most important thing, I think, is keeping all your units at home.
Yeah. In the very beginning, I do agree. I'm just
going to
saying,
get really weird, guys. I mean, this is going to be 5, 6 Reapers by the looks of it on each side. We're going to see a crazy
pistol
micro
round.
battle.
It's just a pistol round, TV.
Who's going to get the AK after this one, and who is going to go home with a Glock? We'll find out very soon.
Well, Nate has always had ambitions to become a Counter-Strike caster, so
Yeah,
Nate,
well,
this is all you. Take it away, buddy.
What can I say, man? I've always been a fan of the dualies as well, so it's gonna be high-paced action. They're actually both just still massive
Bomber's
Reapers.
going 3 Reaper, because, you know, what's the best way of being 2 Reaper? Build another Rax at home and go 3 Reapers.
Oh, I have never seen this, by the way, with grenades. Like, we've seen this in the past.
It's gonna get crazy.
Look at all the grenades. The grenades are gonna make this so awesome. I just suddenly thought about this.
Yeah, this is gonna get cray.
Yeah. So it is actually going to be a Reaper advantage for Bomber, but if you bunch up your Reapers and they get hit by a bunch of grenades, then...
Oh yeah, that's done. It's GG.
This is gonna be the weirdest fight ever. This is gonna be weirder than I think anything we've seen.
Whoever lands the first grenade might actually just straight up win as well, because if you can get on enough of those Reapers, that moment when they're all up in the air, they can't attack.
ByuN just scanned. Sorry, Bomber just scanned. He sees what's there. I don't think ByuN realizes that that Bomber decided to go 3 Reapers instead. Now the scan goes down and he actually sees the barracks, so he's going to be thinking to himself, hang on a minute, have you gone 3 Reapers and I've just gone 2? Because there's now a 2 Reaper advantage in favor of Bomber.
This Hellion, though, this Hellion production does really help that ByuN's getting as well, because that AoE will be very nice.
Hey, do Reapers do friendly damage to the grenades? If you
yes,
okay.
you can kill yourself. I've done it.
This is going to be crazy. Bomber is going for it right now. How the hell... I mean, Bomber surely has to scan the top ramp, because otherwise that could be a disaster.
Throw the grenades!
Alright, we're going to see some grenades. Alright, couple go off. Nothing too crazy so far, but I don't know how this engagement is going to go, man. We've got zoning grenades, and here comes the engagement. Bomber, huge hit on Bomber! GG!
That's what happens when you run into the site with no armor.
Oh my god. Right. Well, there we go. We've learned what happens when that occurs. That was disastrous for Bomber.
Flawless victory, by the way, for ByuN. Didn't lose a single unit.
We can finally say that we have seen the very first of what I'm sure will be many over the years now of the Reaper grenade battles. Not quite the most elegant dance, but you know, that's the kind of battle you're like, man, I want to see someone like Maru do that against you know, Innovation or someone else that can like play it really, really fast and handle those Reapers super well.
Man, ByuN is truly a stat padder, so to speak. He already had the perfect macro game earlier this tournament, where he wasn't supply blocked for a single second in an 11-12 minute pretty action-packed game. And now he just won a game on Prime Terraces without losing a single unit. He's just going for all the achievements, guys.
Well, I mean, we got to see that. You know, I feel privileged to have been able to see that. I hope it will never happen again, but we got to see that.
Oh, God. That'll definitely happen more. I think Reapers are so good. Like, that's bound to become, like, sometimes a thing that just happens. A lot more than it would have happened in HOTS, in my opinion. But it's just awesome that we got to see the first one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk back. Like, eventually there's going to be a point where, like, 2 guys are microing 10 Reapers non-stop fighting against each other, dodging all the grenades, throwing the grenades, and we're going to be like, yeah, remember ByuN Bomber where he just landed 1 grenade and that's it? You know,
in my day, we only needed 1 grenade to get the job done.
Back in my day, you splashed him once and it was game over.
Ah. Well, these days, with the elongated fantasy GG timings, it's disgraceful, really.
I wish I could step up to you guys' level, but I can't. Sorry.
You gotta try your old man.
You don't. What is an old Dutchman accent? I've got to ask.
I don't know. I have to think about it. Come back to me later. Maybe I'll have something.
Good to know. All right, here we go, folks. Orbital Shipyard could be the final map of the series before the grand finals, or we might see a Bomber comeback. Let us find out. To the south position in the Red Trunks, currently trailing 2 maps in this best-of-7 series. It is Spenu's Bomber versus his opponent to the north position in the Blue Trunks from X Team. It is ByuN.
ByuN truly playing a very damn good tournament so far. I think he really put up an awesome showing. It's the first time in a long time we saw him playing for this amount of money, and he's really showing us that he has what it takes to, you know, mess with the absolute best. Let's not forget that Bomber defeated Zest 3-1. And of course, you know, people always say like, well, Zest wasn't ready, prepared for BlizzCon. Yeah, that's all fine, but
it's
Zest
Zest
is still
though.
Zest, you know, like he doesn't have to really adapt to a game like Legacy to still be very, very, very hard to defeat. And Bomber defeated that guy, but now at the same time, ByuN is kind of manhandling him in this series. So, really big shout out to ByuN.
Yeah, I think we're going to see ByuN as a champion sooner rather than later. You know, now that he's back fully in the competitive scene and he actually has a team that he's happy with, like, if ByuN doesn't win a tournament in the next 6 months, I will be very surprised.
I think the Muslim is just hoping that he won't play ladder on the same region as ByuN.
Oh my god, yeah, I remember that. That was, wasn't he Ghost King at that point? He was just murdering everybody.
That's brutal, man. That's brutal. That's like you get on ladder and you might as well just be like putting your leash on and be like, okay, it's time to go for a walk. That's you know, watching those games were super brutal. I'm really just glad to see that we have someone that's already like really been putting a lot of focus in, especially the Legacy of the Void build owners, because ByuN's timings, everything he does is pretty sharp. It's very fresh, and in my opinion, it's very fun to watch. Like his styles have been very good. He's incorporated some of the new units, the way to play around with the game, and I just want to see more.
What I also think is very important is that his builds seem very map oriented, right? Like his certain builds just make sense on the maps that he's actually doing them, and on other maps where it's not that likely that a certain build is going to work, he switches it up. And I think that's something that a lot of people sometimes forget. You know, obviously the more you play on a certain map, you'll know, but when it's a brand new map pool, I think it's kind of hard to figure out, but I really like the approach that ByuN has for using certain builds on certain specific maps.
Well, we're going to see a double Reaper opening here from Bomber just to drive ByuN's Reaper away, although there is one on the way here as well. Let's see what can be done here. I'm surprised after that the Bomber just never builds Reapers again, but that's it's an unusual situation. Oh, what a move! Did he get? I think he did!
Wow,
that
so
actually,
good.
what a move!
So good.
That was excellent play there by ByuN, using the grenades as mines, knowing exactly where his opponent was going to land, and getting splash damage on the first one, which allowed him to gain the advantage.
How can you not be a fan of the new Reaper after watching this stuff? This is just really cool, man.
There's so much micro that comes into play with that bad boy. Actually bumps that Reaper closer to him. Picking that off would be super big. There we see that splash damage against the workers. He really needs to be careful.
He really... Oh, no! But I mean,
this could be it! He could actually
use?
just do game-ending damage right here. Reapers can actually take Hellions on 1v1, just spread him around.
That is very true. That is very, very true. I mean, he's going to have to repair. The grenade goes off as well. ByuN currently keeping those units alive, one's down. And can he do more damage? I mean, this is so much.
This is awesome.
Throw grenades as well for a little while. Man, imagine if that other Reaper survived too. Then this is 100% over. But even right now, this is such a good start for ByuN.
Grenade in the middle there. Try to pick off the rest. He gets sick. GG's.
Wow!
Well, that is the end of that. ByuN dominates Bomber. After the, after the first game, ByuN just went absolutely crazy. And I think Bomber just, after losing those engagements, has got to be hugely disheartened and must have just given up at that point. Bit of a disappointing end to the series, but ByuN, I think, showing his dominance, no doubt.
That was not disappointing, TotalBiscuit. That was super damn awesome. Like,
it was a really cool move.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
Starcraft can be awesome as well in short games, and I think that everybody who just watched that is like, man, that's cool and that's sick. Like using those grenades as a mine, killing that's where it all starts. He kills one of the Reapers, then he gets the second Reaper, and then he just does a ridiculous amount of damage. Like, I think that was really cool. Very well done by ByuN.
Oh man, yeah, that was crazy. Well, we have the grand finals and, of course, the bronze match placement right now, folks. We know, of course, that the third place finish is ByuN, who finishes 4 maps to 1. He walks away with $2,300 in prize money, plus, of course, all of his bonus money, which he actually gathered quite a lot of, about $600 worth, and he could even gather even more today. It's entirely possible based on your vote. So he walks away with a good chunk, and now we're left with the grand final, which I think is going to be unbelievably great. It's going to be Solar versus TY in a TVZ, the absolute best players of this tournament. I cannot wait for this. This is going to be awesome. We're going to take a break, of course, while we're waiting for these guys to come in, because this series actually ended a little early, so we're just waiting on TY to show up. And then once he does, we'll have your grand final here in the Sandisk ShoutCraft Invitational. Enjoy the music, folks. We will be back after this break to bring you that final match.